Okay. Alright, mic check, 1, 2. Alright, well, fucking hell, let's hope tonight is not as much of a clusterfuck as tomorrow. Sorry, as last time I should say. Fucking hell, eh? What do you fucking know? So, last time we had massive problems with the internet, kept dropping out. In fact, the stream just abruptly ended because of the crappy connection. So, hopefully it's a little bit better tonight. Unfortunately, I am in rural Australia, and as a result, the internet's like fucking 1990s and shit. Well, 1990s if you lived in America or somewhere civilized. Yes. All right. So, I'm flying solo tonight. So let me just make the chat a little bit bigger. Oh, there's a typo. There's a typo in the actual freaking the title there. It's 4080 Super. That's okay. We can handle that. Alright, so look, let's get stuck right into it. So we've got a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. We've got the MSI Pro X670-P Wi-Fi motherboard. We have a kit of Crucial DDR5 6000 MHz CL36 RAM. We have a Crucial P3 Plus 2 TB. We have an RTX 4080 Super there. We have a bequiet Dark Rock Elite cooler there. We have a 1000 watt ATX3 power supply there from Deepcool. And we got the bequiet, what is it? The 500DX pure base case. So it comes with 3 fans, and we're adding 3 extra fans, basically along the top there. But yeah, happy days. All right, let's get stuck right into it. So we will start with the motherboard. So I'll open up my new screen here. So this is the board that we've got here. This is the MSI X670-P Wi-Fi. Okay. So you should be able to make out all of the bits and pieces on that motherboard pretty clearly. So I'll start from the top left-hand side. So we've got 16 pins of CPU power there, right up the top. We have nice direct touch heat sinks there on our MOSFET VRM co-processors. We have our AM5 socket there in the middle. We've got 4 RAM slots. It's dual channel memory across 4 slots. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fan headers. You won't find motherboards with more than 8 fan headers, so this is basically maximum fan headers on this board. In addition to that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 RGB headers, so 2 12 volt and 2 5 volt. We got USB-C there, obviously. We got 6 SATA ports, 2 USB 3 headers, one horizontally orientated. We got two USB 2s. We got what have we got down there? COM port related stuff. Got our clear CMOS header. Another 12 volt RGB header. Got our front panel audio down there, and these gold capacitors there in the bottom left hand corner there, they're all the audio capacitors. That's why it's got the gold insulation around the capacitors there, because they are audio. It is an electrical signal, so it is subject to interference. So the gold colored insulation around those capacitors, that's the deal there. So on the rear I/O there, so we've got a we got two USB-Cs, and then we've got a total of 6 USB-As that are all 3.2 and above. We got 2.5 gigabit LAN. We got optical out there. We got Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2. We have a couple of display outputs, although we don't want to be using them because we'll be using the onboard graphics on the CPU and not our 4080 if we plug into the motherboard there. And then finally, it's just this stuff in the middle. So we've actually got 4 M2 slots on this board, so it's very well stacked. We've got a PCIe X16, and then you can see we've got a second slot here that's also metal. This one here is actually a full X8 slot. So we don't normally get an X8 slot on a motherboard. We normally just get these X4 ones, like the bottom there. And there's a little tiny little X1 there as well, that little short one. So yeah, happy days. I mean, if you wanted to use if you needed to use 2 graphics cards on this, you could. You could use one in the X16 and one in the X8. Just something to consider is that the M2 drives, they use 4 PCIe lanes to sort of run at their peak performance. Your CPU here, if I'm not mistaken, a 7800X3D has 24 PCIe lanes. So 16 for your main graphics card, and then it's basically a couple of M2 drives running at full speed, or you could plug another graphics card in there and run it at X8. But if you're using both the graphics cards at the same time, your SSD speeds will be reduced because it's got to share PCIe lanes with the rest of the hardware there. So just be aware of that. Other than that, that's basically our board there. So pretty well stacked board. I like it much better than one of the other boards that I had the other day. Okay. So it's a big box, but this is the only thing of value that it contains. There's no cooler or anything that comes with a 7800X3D, so if you buy a CPU like that, you are going to have to buy a cooler to go with it. And so both Intel and AMD AM5 socket chips all use an LGA style socket now, so there's no CPU pins on the CPU, it's just touchpads. The pins are in the socket, so just FYI. What have we got? I might I'll install all of the M2 offsets. And so what we'll do is we'll actually chuck our SSD in one of the slots that's going to be covered up by the graphics card. Then the other slots will be easily accessible, because once we put that graphics card in, it's going to cover up 2 out of 4 of these slots. So it can be a bit of a pain in the ass. You want to add some more storage to it down the track. If we did it another way, you might have to actually you might actually have to remove the graphics card to install your other SSD. So it'll be a bit of a pain in the ass. Okay, and finally our memory. So I got a bit of crucial stuff going on here. Got a crucial SSD and we got crucial RAM. So Crucial is a company that's owned by another company called, well, I shouldn't say Crucial is a company. Crucial is a brand owned by a company called Micron. They are an American tech company, and basically they are one of the 4 manufacturers of NAND flash memory, which is the memory chips on your SSD. So if you can kind of think of it as Crucial is kind of America's answer to Samsung in terms of the SSD performance and the quality. So you might think, hey, but why are they cheaper than Samsung? And the reason why they're cheaper than Samsung is because of a little thing called brand recognition. So that's really, really important, because the guys who, you know, are the sales managers for Samsung, right? They are very much aware of the fact that it is that their brand is very well recognized. Now the thing is, your average consumer knows the Samsung brand, right? They know that because they know their phone's a Samsung brand. Okay, so what do we got here? We have Aaron is going to be our next live stream. He's just dropped us a comment. Thanks for that, Aaron. Really appreciate that, mate. It'll be a little bit quiet here today, and that's just because we're starting earlier than what we normally do. I am pretty busy right now, actually. Okay. So we are actually removing the we're actually moving the standard mounting bracket there that comes with the board. We're not using that for this cooler. I thought we were for a second when I was just initially looking at the cooler. So I'm pretty sure we're still going to be using the same backplate, just with our own brackets. So it is really important when you put together. I think they'll go this way. No, but the reason is some of these pieces, right? They're designed to be, they're designed to put just the perfect amount of tension on the CPU. So, for example, if you don't put these little plastic bits on there, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, we'll move over to full screen again there before I forget and do the whole screen with the motherboard on the screen. So I've got to do this fast. If not, I'm not going to be able to have a beer tonight. It'll be too late. Alright, I haven't installed one of these coolers before, so I hope I have these brackets on the right way. Okay. And the general rule when you screw up all your screws, you don't need a torque wrench. Just try to put as even as possible pressure on all of them. You don't want to over tighten them. There's literally no point in over tightening bolts. All you end up doing, if you seriously over tighten a bolt, see the thread on the screw there? You actually bend that thread, like sort of bending a bit of metal. You bend the thread from over tightening the bolt. So different bolts have a different amount of like tensile strength that they can handle. You know, like the nuts on your car wheels, they're designed to, you know, be held on quite hard. These little PC bolts with these little tiny fine threads, these are only designed to have a certain amount of tension on them, and people frequently over tension bolts, whether it's on the car or whether it's on a PC that they're building. People get freaked out, and if they don't know like the technical side of frickin' screwing in bolts and shit like that, they'll typically make that mistake. I mean, I remember being a young fella and, you know, changing my first tire on the side of the road. I mean, I was so fucking scared of that wheel falling off after I changed it. I was jumping on the fucking spanner there with my whole body weight to make sure those bolts were tight. And, you know, I realized as I got older and I learned a bit more about, you know, bolts and stuff like that, I realized that, hey, it's not really necessary. Okay. Hang on, so does this go on without the phone? Pretty sure it does. Yeah, that looks right. Hang on a second. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this doesn't feel right to me. This doesn't sit right. It don't sit right with me. And the reason why it doesn't sit right with me is because it's designed up. It's designed to go on the other way around. I'm watching it and I'm just like, this is blowing air the wrong way. I'm like looking at the fan, I'm just like, those blades are pointed the wrong way. So if you understand what I'm talking about, I mean that we want air to be sucked in this side and blowing out the back towards this fan that's at the back. There we go. Perfect. All right, well that was pretty painless. Okay, so there she is. And so air in there, blowing out the back. Alright, so I've got to move a couple of fans around in this case. We'll keep the single 140 on the back there. And then what we'll do is, there's another 140 up the top. We'll go ahead and move that one to the front, and then we'll put 3 120s up the top there. Okay. Noah's just said, "Oh, the cooler's massive." Yeah, it's a solid freaking cooler. This is the kind of air cooler you buy when you want like liquid cooling performance from your air cooler. The only downside to having a cooler like this is it's such a heavy chunk of metal that's mounted directly to the CPU that, you know, sometimes this cooler doesn't feel too heavy, so it should be okay, but sometimes if you put a really heavy heatsink on a cooler like that, over the years it can slightly warp your motherboard from the weight of it. But like I said, this cooler in particular isn't too it isn't too heavy. Like it's solid, but the material that they've used is some sort of alloy that's nice and light, and most likely sort of dissipates the heat fairly well. Oh, we can only fit 2 120s up top, so we may as well put the 3... Can we fit 3 140s in this? I don't think we can. Oh, might have a spare fan. Oh, it's always good to have a spare fan anyway. Fans are one of those items in a PC that you know, frequently die. They're moving parts. They don't last forever. Even premium fans only have a 2-year warranty. So this bequiet case, it's got this like soundproofing insulation there on the back panel and all that. This panel here at the top. Yeah, Noah just said that by the time the board bends, it's probably time for an update anyway. Yeah, pretty much right. But like I said, the alloys that's used in this cooler are pretty light. It's pretty light alloy. Sorry, I'll get rid of some of this mess soon. I've just got to change the screw connections on the side of these fans just so they're just like the regular ones. So once again, these Be Quiet fans, they've got like insulated mounts on them, like extra rubber and stuff to make sure it's nice and quiet. Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and chuck our board in. Ooh. We might actually do our power supply first because I'm a little worried about cable clearance up the top here. It's pretty tight. Like, it's not, you know, it's not like the it's not the most massive case. And when it comes to these smaller cases, you've got to be very careful. Because you've seen me, like, even I'll fuck it up, right? Okay. Show me what you got. Okay. So I'll chuck both of these cables directly onto the motherboard there and I'll feed them through. Bloody hell. Magnetic. Damn. Really? Bloody hell. Okay, don't pick it up like that. See, my rationale is don't grab the cooler by the fins, because you don't want to bend the fins. However, the top just comes off. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. Yeah, point to note, do not grab this cooler by the fan there that's in the middle. It just slides directly out the top there. So, just FYI, don't make the same mistake as me. Wrong thread pitch. A couple of different bolts in the PC world. They look exactly the same size, but the shape of the thread on the screw, or aka the thread pitch, is different. So if you try screwing in a bolt and you find that it keeps turning without any other reason, you most probably have a fine thread pitch bolt going into a nut that's got the thicker threads. Then it will just sort of rotate there. Okay. Sweet as. Okay, let's get the graphics card up there. So these two fans on the front, I'm going to plug them in down the bottom here. Sweet. USB-C. Okay. Alrighty, we've got a 12 plus 4 pin. So these 12 plus 4 pin cables are symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about which end is which when you're plugging in your cables. Okay, got a few people here in the live chat. Let me just catch up quickly. Oh shit. Oh man, I don't want to butcher your name. Someone from Mexico. I don't want to butcher your name, bro. Gonna see the video tomorrow. Yeah, man, absolutely. Talonhawk says the cooler is ridiculously massive. It's so big that the be quiet seems like a threat. I wish the rear fan could be installed lower to align perfectly with the cooler. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, the slot is locked in there, Latios. There's nothing we can do about that. But functionally, it makes no difference from like a physics perspective. And so we would have gone with a Be Quiet power supply to match everything in this build, but I couldn't get one with ATX3 standard. So what I'm talking about is, see this cable here? This 12 plus 4 pin, that's what the graphics card's powered from. It doesn't use these guys anymore. But the thing is, if you don't have a power supply that's ATX3, it doesn't have this cable coming directly from the power supply. So you have to use those skanky adapters. I normally just chuck them out. Here we go. I was like, I swear I dropped one on the floor the other night. Yeah, so the alternative's to use one of these skanky ass adapters. Like, I can kind of like tie them together and make them look like somewhat respectable, but at the end of the day it's still this ugly thing there. So I always use ATX3 power supplies for all my builds that have ATX3 standard graphics cards. So like the original 4070 didn't have this connection, so you could have used just any power supply for that and it'd be fine. But from 4070 Super and onwards, they're all powered by this 12 plus 4 pin cable. So just something to be aware of there. Because I'm sure plenty of people have gone and sort of gone ahead with things, and then they realise once they go to build it, oh shit, I have to use this crappy cable here, this freaking splitter thing. Okay. Oh no, it's one of these power supply brackets. It's got to be inserted from the back. So I have to unplug those CPU cables for now. Okay. I don't know what the deal is with these freaking brackets. I'm not sure why they design things like this. It's meant to make it easier or something, but I don't know, man. I don't find anything about this easier. Like, this case is pretty tight, so it's like the only way it fits, so I get that, but sometimes they have these brackets on freaking cases, and it's like, why? Why are we complicating things, you know? There's no need to overcomplicate things, in my opinion. But this is what happens when, you know, the bean counters in the accounting department start reviewing things and making suggestions, or they just listen to all the casual builders who complain, oh, it was so hard to install my power supply, I fucked around for ages trying to mount my radiator or something like that. They're like, oh, well, we could use a bracket. Then you can do it all outside of the case, and that'll be so much easier. Okay. Okay. Graphics card. That was pretty painless, wasn't it? What do we got here? Talonhawk says, as long as the pressure differentials are good, it'll work. 100%, bro. You understand the airflow dynamics of PC cases. So, in general, you try to set it up so the volume of air being pulled in the front is equal to the volume being pushed out the back. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a slight variation there. Like, it's not fucking rocket science. But, you know, in general, you want both intake and exhaust fans. So, you know, the minimum fans for a modern system would be 2. 1 intake and 1 exhaust. The problem with mounting only 2 fans to your modern PC build is when it gets hot, those fans are going to be working flat out constantly trying to keep it cool. So sometimes when it comes to, you know, trying to build a PC for silence, you need to go and consider, you know, how many fans that you're going to have, because it's all, like I said, it's about volume in equal volume out. So you can tune your fans to get that precise if you want. Alright, so look at this monster of a graphics card. You know, it's not really, they're not really graphics cards anymore. They're more like graphics bricks. I mean, just look at this thing. It's all cooler, right? That's where the PCB ends, right there. So all the rest of it is just the massive heatsink that's on it. So we got a triple slotter there. So with these 12 plus 4-pin cables, make sure you plug them in properly and all the way You don't want to go half-assed with them. The thing about anything electrical, right, is you have a concept called resistance. Now, as electrons move through a conductive material like a copper wire or something like that, there's sort of, you can think of the electrons kind of like sandpaper moving along the material. There's friction. This friction generates heat. The more power you send through a cable, the closer it's going to get to the limit of that cable. When you get to the limit of that cable, it melts. Okay, it starts fires, it smokes, it does all the things that you don't want it to do. So that's why, you know, that's why we have, you know, that's why we power in something like an oven in a house. We sort of wire that in directly on its own circuit, because of the amount of power that runs through those cables is sort of maxed out by the oven. We don't want to be attempting to run more current through the a power point than what it's meant to. And it's the same kind of thing with these cables. If it's not plugged in all the way, you could have a bit of a piece of metal not contacting all the way, and it could get hot, and you could end up cooking it with the resistance. Now, there was also an issue at first with a lot of these cables. There was manufacturers not. It was mainly these adapters that they weren't, the cables they were using inside weren't good enough to support the amount of wattage that it said on there, and then people were having issues with them catching fire and all that kind of shit. But we're sort of beyond that now. You know, issues like that, there's frequently issues with new tech when it comes out. That's nothing new. It's nothing exciting or anything like that. How are we going for space here? Oh yeah. Cool. All right. So let's see if I put it together right. Because hey, you know, who knows? Okay. If you can, Talonhawk says, if you can pull the power supply out the back, hot swappable PSU. Putting the unit in GPU. Yeah, definitely. Why is the case yelling at me to be quiet? Because you're noisy, bro. You're really noisy. Nah. Raze! Hey, Tim, it's been a while. Haha. Haven't seen you for ages, bro. Oh. So, we have posted. How good's that? Alright, here's my stuff. Okay. So we'll just update the BIOS quickly before we go any further. Okay, there's our update there. That's pretty strange. Yeah, Windows 11's alright. But what is going on here? I update the BIOS and now I'm stuck on a RAM warning light. What's going on here? And we're stuck on a DRAM light. Okay. Okay. This cooler really gets in the way of the RAM. Did anyone get a look? Did that BIOS finish updating? It's so weird. Leave it there. Yeah, I'm trying individual DIMMs right now. Yeah, I've reset CMOS multiple times. Yeah, she's just not firing. I might have to damn, I might have to do a DOA on the board. Yeah, like it goes through its normal. It goes through its normal post. You know, turn it on first. You got a CPU light. You got a DRAM light. And clear CMOS just one more time. Be thorough. Can't put it back as a DOA board if it's still frickin' working. Yeah, have a look, mate. I don't think it does though. It is a it's a Pro X70P Wi-Fi MSI. If it does have a flashback, I'm missing it. What beer do I drink? I drink whatever 30 packs on special. Nah, mate, I drink. Yeah, I'm not too fussed. I like most Australian beers. At the moment, I got a carton of Tui's. Had a carton of 4X last week. Had a carton of VB the week before. Damn. Well, that freaking sucks. Lucky for you, I got another order to pick up, so I can go back and do a DOA motherboard. If we can't get it going here tonight, I'll just do a DOA on the motherboard. It's pretty strange. Can't believe if this is true, I can't believe I've gotten like 2 faulty parts on 2 consecutive orders. Like, everything has a non-zero failure rate, but like, let's be real, it's not normally, you know, So what, we got roughly 8 parts there, and 1 dies, so it's like what, 1 in 8, that's like what, 12.5%. Failure rate's like 0.5% for parts. So what's that, like fucking 25 times? Yeah. Very, very unlikely to have 2 DOAs. Yeah, the screen just went black while I was doing a BIOS update. Just went black. I got video evidence of it. If it comes to that, but I don't think it will. It will just DOA the board. It's fine. Because yeah, I mean, I don't lose power. We've got a UPS here, so everything's solid. It's just really bloody strange. I don't think I've ever had this happen before. And I've built thousands and thousands of computers. First time for everything, right? Yeah, mate, Talon Hawk, I'm talking to. Yeah, man, I just went and had a quick look myself. I can't find anything. So, yeah, I'd say this is definitely going to be a DOA board, unfortunately. Well, that does suck. All I can say is, luckily it failed now while I've got it, and not next week after I've shipped it off to you. So that's all I can say. I mean, that's part of the benefit of getting someone to build your PC, because then if something goes wrong, then you don't have to deal with that clusterfuck. Because the thing about it is, a lot of PC places will, they know that you're an amateur, and they'll try and jip you where possible. Whereas, you know, if I come in with a board, like, they don't even test the stuff. They just take it back. You know, any of the wholesalers or retailers like Umart that I buy from, yeah, they're all really good. I mean, we had a kit of memory the other night that was fucked. Each DIMM posted individually, and that was fine. But when you use them as a kit, it didn't work. And so we tried it on 2 different motherboards and got the same result. Plugged another kit of RAM into the original PC. Worked just fine. Posted, booted into Windows, no bloody problems. Well, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? I can't believe we've had 2 fucking dramas in 2 streams. Okay, well, like I said, luckily I do have another order, and I will be going back. To change that, so I'll be able to do the DOA on this board. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that sucks, right? And we've got a nice 4080 here and everything, so... Well, yeah, I don't know if there's not going to be much more I can do right now. I'm gonna I'll watch the live stream back later on and see if I can notice anything about it. But from what I understand, the screen just went black and then wouldn't show anything. And I believe it was only, I think it was only like 20 or 30% of the way through. So it is what it is. And yeah, like I said, I'll have to look back over it, but I think it's gone and pooped its pants while we're doing the BIOS update. I don't believe it's the RAM. I mean, if we want to be super sure, what if it's just some strange RAM compatibility issue that applied when the BIOS update went through? I don't think so. Alright. That kit's gone. Alrighty. Well, it's another crucial DIMM, but it's a completely different spec. So okay. Alright, so let's just try a completely different DIMM and we'll see if that makes any difference. and then it posts. Imagine that, right? Sometimes you just got to let it go for a little bit. RAM can be a little bit temperamental, but I think our problem may be the motherboard in this case. It's Talonhawk saying, hang on man, let me just make that bigger again. Spewing. Google AI says. It's always the RAM, Laddie says. Yeah, I know, but in this case I have no reason to think that it's the RAM. Because if it was the RAM, it wouldn't have posted initially and I wouldn't have been able to initiate the BIOS update. So, yeah, interesting. But yeah, like at the end of the day, it's a brand new board. And yeah, nothing went awry with it. We'll double check all of our connections there. Yes. Yeah, CPU's plugged in. I know that's definitely plugged in. Yep. Yeah, there's no obvious signs of anything wrong with it. No physical damage. Okay. Well, what do you think? What should we do now? I mean, let's be super thorough. Let's clear CMOS with this other DIMM in, and let's fire it up again, just to be double and triple and quadruple sure of things. Because if my experience has taught me anything, it's always double and triple and whatever check your components. You need, when you're dealing with tech and you're putting it together, you've got to consider that you are generally the weakest link. You're the one that's most likely to make some sort of stupid mistake. So once you rule out yourself, then you can look at the hardware. But always assume that maybe you haven't done something right, whether it's your diagnosis by swapping the sticks and whatever, or it's just you know, didn't plug a cable in all the way, or some other kind of human error situation like that. Once you take yourself out of the equation, then you're just left with the hardware. So, and like I said, look, hang on, what are we gonna do? Should we try another power supply on it? Just to be super extra double sure that everything's okay. What do you reckon? It's gonna be hard to, I mean, I gotta take it all out anyway, I guess. Mr. Great Production says, pray to Chitsalu. Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Okay, see how we go here. Can I and I get away with just removing one fan and then unhook the CPU power. Okay. Alright, so now we've got another power supply here. We're gonna plug in what we need here. So don't mind this gets a little bit messy here while we do this, but that's fine. So I already have a cable plugged in here. Okay, so we'll plug in another power supply here, and we'll give it a go with another power supply just to be super thorough. I don't believe it's going to make any difference. Okay, just cleared CMOS there. Like I said, I have no reason to believe that it's a power supply, but we're just going to be super thorough and check everything that we can. We've tried different RAM there, we've tried a different power supply. No, we're not getting anything. So still stuck on that. Now you might be wondering, oh, where's the light on the front of the case? It's not hooked up to this power supply. No. Okay, so yeah, like I said, so from here we'll have to do a DOA on the motherboard, because yeah, she gone. Okay. Well, that sucks, because the plan was to get this shipped off tomorrow. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. Well, yeah, that definitely sucks. Oh, you wouldn't believe me if you didn't see it live. Okay. So I am gonna Okay, there's our graphics card. Let me just chuck a pin protector on that bad boy. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and strip this down. Get it all ready to go back. Okay. Alright, so I'll just chuck the graphics card back in the case there. Damn. That's all I can say. Oh. Well, after all that, putting it together, now I'm instantly taking it all apart. So yeah, that's really cool, right? Oh. Thermal paste. Just one wipe and it's all back to normal pretty much. And that is because the thermal paste didn't get a chance to set. And as a result, it's really easy to clean off. Good CPU. Close the socket. We need to reapply the socket protector. Beauty. Alright, let me just have a quick look. No physical damage anywhere on the board. No. That's all looking really good. No. No, all good, all good. Okay, well. Damn, that's all I can say. Okay. Bloody hell. Hang on, what have I missed? What have I missed? Yeah, sorry mate, sorry, I wasn't on full screen then. Alright, so someone just asked what happens now. So when you get a motherboard or a PC component that just sort of either doesn't work at all or dies on you pretty much straight away, that's what we call DOA, or dead on arrival. So most retailers, if you bring something back to them within 7 days and there's no physical damage or anything to it, you'll get like a replacement. Pretty much no questions asked. If you wait longer than that 7-day period, the retailer or wholesaler will put their foot down and demand that it go back as a normal warranty, not a DOA. Now, if it has to go back as a normal warranty, you can say goodbye to your motherboard for 2 to 4 weeks at the minimum. So that's not ideal. DOA, it's different. It means it's dead on arrival, as the name says. So in this case, it's a DOA. There's no physical damage to the board. We tried to use it, and as soon as we started, it crapped out on us. I mean, you wouldn't believe me unless you saw it live, and you can watch back at any time afterwards and have a look at what happened there. But yeah, unfortunately, that is what it is. Unfortunately, people. Sorry, don't mind me as I just wipe off the thermal paste. Got it all over my shirt, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, the thermal didn't set because it's a brand new PC. It didn't get warm, so makes it a little bit easier to clean up. But yeah. No, but I mean, when you slightly drop a board, it's a physical piece of hardware. So what you're looking for is scratches, things bent out of shape on the back of the board and stuff. However, I had a look at it. I had a look at it just before. There's no physical damage to that board, so that's not going to be an issue. In general, if you were to drop something and the drop damaged it in such a way, then you wouldn't get anything from the board. You try and turn it on and nothing would happen at all. So yeah, a bit of fun. I'll do one more lot of testing on this before I bring it back off camera. I'll use a different CPU and yet another kit of RAM, also with my other power supply here, which is a known working functional unit. It's a top quality unit, you know, 10-year warranty on it and stuff. Everything's really nice, all Japanese capacitors inside it, etc, etc. There's nothing wrong with this unit. I mean, the one that we put in here, that's a top quality unit as well, and let me... Yes. Yeah, it's a 10-year warranty unit. It's got it on the back there. So, you know, we're not using cheap power supplies or anything like that. At the end of the day, it just ceased working for us. So, yeah, like I said, it's a DOA board. Yeah, no, the drop wouldn't have done anything, man. 100%. Like, I've dropped heaps of stuff. Yeah. The only time I've broken something from dropping it, a little choke on the back of it just got completely snapped off, and then the board wouldn't work at all. And then I've seen other ones where people have not changed the offsets in the case and then just stuck their board down, tightened it all down, and there's an offset sticking into the back of the board, scratches and makes a physical mark on the board, and people get really upset when they realize that if there's fucking physical damage to that board, they won't warranty it, they won't return it, they won't do anything with it, because from their perspective, they can't take back a board that's got any physical damage for a DOA or a warranty. So, anyway, yeah, Ladios says it's rare for a CPU to be faulty, but definitely check another one. Yeah, 100%. I'll chuck this CPU on another board, and I'll chuck another CPU on that board, just as a little bit of extra work before I send it back. But yeah, it's seeming like a motherboard. CPUs when they die can show the same kind of symptoms as what we saw there. So it's definitely a possibility that there's an issue with the CPU. There is a CPU error light on the motherboard. However, when you have a faulty CPU, it's not necessarily going to show up as a CPU light on the motherboard. It can sometimes show up as a DRAM light, so a RAM light. Because CPU and RAM are kind of joined at the hip. They're two halves of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. If you plug a CPU into a motherboard with no RAM, it won't turn on. If you plug RAM into a motherboard and try to turn it on without a CPU, obviously it doesn't do anything. You don't necessarily need a graphics card. You don't need a SSD or a hard drive. The things you do need to make it do like the bare minimum, booting up into BIOS, you need a power supply, you need a CPU with onboard graphics, and you need RAM. Everything else, SSDs, graphics cards, freaking coolers, fucking fans, literally everything else is not essential. You do need it, but I mean, in terms of making the system do something, these are the minimum parts you need. So RAM, for every 99 kits of RAM that are faulty, there's probably 0.5 CPUs that are faulty. So maybe for every 199 kits of RAM that die, there's one CPU that dies. So it's very, very rare to have a CPU die. It does happen, but it's very rare. Yeah, Talon's probably onto it. Might be a bad BIOS chip or connection too, so when trying to override it, it just took a dump. Yeah. Yep, that sounds like a very logical explanation for what happened here tonight. Ladios is signing out. Thanks, Tim C, on the next one. Thanks, Ladios. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I'm with Talon Hawk there. It's the board, man. If my experience has taught me anything, it's the board. You know, if it was RAM, then we would have been able to move forward with that, either with one stick or a separate stick that's not related to that kit. The fact is, it did the same thing no matter what configuration we had it in. But yeah. Alright. Yeah, yep, could be USB bus. I mean, we can sit here and speculate about precisely what the problem is for ages, but really, until the board goes back to MSI, we're not going to have any idea about it. Like, people always ask me things with warranties. They're like, oh, what exactly was wrong with it? And it's like, I don't get any word back from MSI specifically, like from an engineering team telling me exactly what's wrong with it, and neither do retailers or wholesalers that actually directly deal with MSI for returns. they don't even get any considerable feedback as to what the problems are. If it complies with a DOA or a warranty, the company like MSI or Gigabyte or Asus, they typically don't want end users to know exactly what went wrong with their products. They don't want people writing about it online or doing anything, so they generally don't say shit, and they don't tell us, the retailers and wholesalers, any more than what we need to know at a minimum. So yeah, that's just how this industry rolls. You know, like people like, they come in and they start using like a lot of tech language, like end users and stuff like that, but it doesn't help. And if you go and do a warranty through a retailer, they'll get you to, don't use any big words, mate. You just tell us really simply what it does or what it doesn't do, because that's the information that we pass on to the board manufacturers and stuff. We can't test the board on the same level as what MSI does, so we aren't capable of telling you precisely where the fault is. So we can't sort of send it back to MSI telling MSI exactly what's wrong with the board. We don't have the tools, and you know, we don't have the time to go and like freaking sit out there with a multimeter and check all this. Like, it's just not part of our jobs as retailers and wholesalers. That is MSI's job to go and do that. All we tell MSI is, yep, the board, it doesn't post. We plug a CPU in it, we plug RAM into it. It doesn't post at all. It sits there. It has a CPU light. Then the CPU light turns off, and then the DRAM light stays illuminated. And that's the kind of level of the report that we will send back to MSI. And MSI get that information, and then they can, their engineers will have some idea what the problems are with different boards. Because typically when something goes wrong, it's a batch issue, so they'll have multiple units coming back with the same problem. So they'll pretty quickly realize what the problem is just from a simple description. But yeah, like I said, for us, we're not gonna know. I get asked that all the time. I get a graphics card or whatever come back, and people are really curious as to what the problem was, and unfortunately, I can't tell them anything. So, alrighty, so people are starting to sign off now. That's about right. We're gonna finish it up now. Okay. Well, I'll be in contact with Noah to let him know what the dealio is with all this. But what I'll do is I'll put this board back for a DOA, and with a bit of luck, they'll have another one in stock, and I'll go and get that. If they don't, I might try and just go with a completely different board. Because, like I said, I'll put this as a DOA and I'll get a refund for that. And then if there's a different board there or something like that, if I can't get another one of these. But I mean, this is a good board. It's got good features. Like, if we just move over to this view again, it's got really good features. It's got 2 USB-Cs on the rear I/O. It's got a USB-C for the front panel, so potentially 3 USB-C ports on this. Get another 6 USB 3.2s and above, 4 M2 slots, 8 fan headers, 4 RGB headers, 2 USB 3 headers, 6 SATA ports, dual 8 pins there for the CPU power. So it's a good board. Objectively, it's got good features, and yeah, I mean, I would, for the same price, I don't think we can get a board with better features than this. So that's a little bit of a worry there. Mad Warriors, I think he's saying goodbye. But yeah, alright. Well look, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.